Yes, my name is Andrei Nikolai Pamintuan. I'm from the Philippines, based here in Makati City. I'm a theater director and an independent producer. I just to give context of where I come from and what I do. I founded the Fringe Manila Festival, which is a multi-art open access festival, and it inaugurated in the Philippines in 2015. I also run an independent art space or creative hub called Pineapple Lab, which has been a gathering space for creatives and artists to showcase and create works that may be considered unconventional, experimental, weird, political, whatever have you. And in many ways, it had become a year-round space for artists that are part of the Fringe Manila network who otherwise would not have a home or space to develop their works and cultivate new audiences. So it's become a family. And we really consider Pineapple Lab a platform and safe space for emerging artists, artists who are women, artists who are part of the LGBTQIA community, for them to be able to express themselves and increase their visibility through the works that they do. So throughout the year, we curate exhibitions, organize gatherings, and produce performances at our space. So as you can imagine, like many creatives or those in the arts and cultural sector, Pineapple Lab and Fringe have been heavily affected and have had to close. And as a community, we thrive in our relationship with each other, whether you're a performer, and an audience member. So it's really that energy that kind of we've been missing throughout this, I think, here in the Philippines, what we call a community quarantine for the past 3 months already. Um, so, so I just want to talk about our work beyond the space. Our work at Pineapple Lab extends beyond the four walls. We work throughout our neighborhood, which is Poblacion. I'm just going to play this as I speak. We work throughout our neighborhood of Poblacion, which was established 350 years ago, with and so it has such a unique history. However, not a lot of people are aware of this and often come here just for the nightlife. And so it was important for us to activate existing public spaces, um, through murals, installations, theater performances, workshops, gigs, concerts, and exhibitions. And we wanted to highlight the history and DNA of our neighborhood juxtaposed with urban creativity in public spaces, and making art accessible and tangible to our communities. However, public spaces in the Philippines are underutilized and a lot of them are inaccessible compared to other countries, like let's say like Australia or the United States. Here in the Philippines, you can't even like put your feet on the grass because you're not allowed to do that. There's not even sidewalks. There are spaces that look like public spaces, but you can't even go there because it's privately owned and you can't even set up a blanket to have a picnic. So those are, I guess, the bigger challenges of what public spaces are here in the Philippines. You there you can find them, but it's problematic because you don't even have access to them. Malls have become this sort of public space or alternative to public spaces. However, independent spaces, like Pineapple Lab, like Green Papaya, um, like spaces that are run by organizations like Sipat Lawin, for example, have become gathering spaces for artists and audiences to bring the community together and experience art together. Um, and so I think for me, what's important to push for is to reimagine the public space as a creative space for artists to be able to continue to showcase their work and or include audiences or communities in the process of creating. And even with physical distancing, art or artistic practices and expression doesn't have to hibernate, I feel. It has to be part of the day to day. And public spaces are a perfect canvas for that. The return of the public space, at least in my context here in my neighborhood, is claiming and recognizing the power it has to rebuild communities isolated from one another. It may be a live painting of a mural, a participatory community art installation, or a solo performance, all of which can be experienced collectively by the public while observing new normal protocols. Here in the Philippines, I'm interested in activating more public spaces and shared spaces to counter the prognosis that performances and gigs are dead at least until late 2020 or mid 2021. I think we must realize that there is life outside uh, the walls of institutions, museums, galleries, and theaters.